Hi, welcome to Parrot TV's Literary Corner. I'm Dustin Pickering, your noble and honest host. On some days, and this is definitely one of those days, because today we have the Literary Parrot. Again, we're promoting this book. Today we have a singular interview with the people's poet, Pat Connors of Canada, who will discuss his impressions of the book, as well as read us a couple of poems that he has prepared, one from the book and one from the website, which will probably be in our second edition, available as of December this year, December 1st. This came out August 1st. It's on Amazon for $18. Universally, you can get it internationally. It's on pothi.com, Pothi.com. If you want to get it in India, it'll have a glossy cover instead of this nice matte cover. But hey, it's a great book. You know, there's no reason why it shouldn't be a glossy cover. It looks nice and shiny, and it's protected, and it'll be a wonderful 249 pages of an investment for you. So please pick up a copy when you get a chance. So today we're talking with Pat Connors. How are you doing today, Pat?
I'm doing great, Dustin. Thank you very much for having me here. I appreciate this.
Wonderful. It's great. I'm glad you got a copy of the book, and I'm curious, what are your impressions so far? Has anything stuck out like a sore thumb? You know, bam, like two thumbs up, sore thumbs.
Oh, well, definitely two thumbs up. I mean, the body of work that you and Mutiu have already accomplished in a short period of time. I don't know how you do it. You guys are the hardest working men in poetry, and you're doing more to promote poetry and other poets than you're doing to promote yourself. It's not for the greater good of the literary parrot or the New York parrot, although you're doing a fantastic job with those. But what you're doing to poetry worldwide is just such a great service, and it's just going to keep, going and growing. And I have nothing but confidence in that.
I do believe that when you serve others, it has the capacity to come back to you. Not that I'm doing that just to have it come back to me, but I do believe that this project as a whole will be bigger than itself. And that's one of the reasons why I'm participating in it as editor of the anthology, as well as a poet and a editor of the site of the poetry you see on the website, and of the curator slash anchor of this program. The Literary Parrot is fantastic. You know, it's fun. It's enjoyable process. So why don't you read us the poem you have in the book?
Absolutely,
And
I'd be
we'd
honored
love to
to.
hear that. Oh, we'd love to hear it. I'm looking forward to it.
So the background of this poem is the League of Canadian Poets came out with a project called Tending the Fire in 2019. And Mick Burrs, my mentor, and he was my poetry editor for a long time, uh, wrote a poem about how poetry has to go through the fire, and I was moved to riff off of that, and this is where the poem "Becoming" originated. And the epigraph is the poem "Heart" by Mick Burrs. I'm going to read that first. It is always becoming a poem, this furnace, this fire in a corner of the body's dark. This is the place that burns whatever has been broken. And now my poem. The world says we are the result of the residue it leaves upon us. Don't let this be. Burn this dross from me. No matter the pain it brings, I will not be like everyone else. Mold me in your image, form me in the refiner's crucible, that my thoughts, my work, and my poetry may bring you glory. Let all the indescribable pain endured while becoming understandable bring clarity to my vision and integrity to my life. Then my words would blaze a trail across the midnight sky and be a likeness of the light which will forever shut out darkness.
Excellent. That's a beautiful metaphor that the poetry must pass through the fire. What do you think that means exactly?
Well, we are all kind of made up of all the different things that the world has inflicted upon us, and what we think we are and what the world thinks we are. And poetry gives me the opportunity to get past all of that and to get to what I really am and to the soul of what's really important. And it's not easy. I mean, I guess I've gotten to the point where it sounds like it's easy, and that's what I'm going for as a people's poet. But
Hmm.
I can't write a good poem in less than 3 weeks. And when I say 3 weeks, I mean like I'm obsessing over that poem for 3 weeks. I'm
Wow.
editing it 10, 15, 20 times. I'm having sleepless nights, editing it for hours on end. One of the good things about smartphones and that sort of thing is you can do
Right.
that on Google Docs, and then you can say, okay, now I'm going to see how it looks on paper, and obviously it looks
Hmm.
different than it does on your iPhone.
Right.
But this is also part of what's going on in the world right now. I mean, the world is on fire. There's terrible flooding going on in New York and in different parts of Africa and Europe, but there's
Hmm.
also huge forest fires in BC and in Greece and in Vancouver, British Columbia, and we're just trying to we're just trying to survive right now. It's really challenging.
Right. Well, we'll see what the future brings to the human race. I mean, I do believe we'll make it through all of this, and there's enough of us that, that I mean, it's just so terrible that so many lives are being lost right now, and so much devastation to people and property and livelihoods are being, just tossed into the dustbin like
Absolutely.
nature's power is just immense, just gone. Just so much, and it's really hard to make it through these periods of total recklessness of nature. I mean, we can't really stop it, we can't do
Absolutely.
much. We can take care
And
of
after what
ourselves,
we've
and
been through with COVID, and of course, I wrote a COVID poem that you
yes.
published in Harbinger Asylum in the spring issue. After what we've been through in COVID, and then there's just these
Uh-huh.
further disasters going on.
Right.
It's really challenging, and it is trial by fire.
Yeah, I believe that's an excellent metaphor, and I think that metaphor is very timeless too. I think of William Blake and his writings of the furnace, what
Yes,
their hand sees the fire kind of thing. It's like a risk to live, just to be existing, and especially in this time and age. I mean, I feel safe in my space, but it's like you never know what could happen. I mean, fires might ravage Houston. Who knows?
I hope not, but I
I
mean,
hope not. Yeah.
you guys had terrible weather over the winter that you don't get, and I mean, same
Yeah.
with hurricanes coming up this way. They haven't made it to Canada, but I mean, we had tornadoes in Barrie a couple of months ago, and people lost everything. Barrie is about an hour northwest of Toronto, and I mean, like the world is completely upside down right now.
Yeah.
There's
And I
no
think what
denying it.
poetry can do, one of the powers it has, is to sustain the human spirit and the human heart through these tough
Definitely.
times. Like, I feel very comfortable reading a poem. I get lost in my mind, in the world that it creates, when I'm reading poetry, and, like I do a review of somebody's collection. I have Tom Hunley's book. He's also in the literary Parrot. I'm reviewing
Nice.
his book. What He just sent me a copy of that. People like that. I mean, and it's impressive how poetry can just suck you in. It's
Yes.
I guess the passion, the heart of the poet. What draws you to this book? I mean, what is it specifically, or do you find anything that stands out? Any works you found specifically enjoyable for you to read as you went through it?
Well, I sent you that picture yesterday because that's when I got my book from
Okay,
Amazon,
so it's you've
and
been
then
kind of
so I haven't gone through it in that detail. What strikes me is the community, the fact that you
right.
have people from Sweden, you have people from Nigeria, you have people from Kazakhstan, you have people from Greece, you have PJ Johnson, my friend, the poet laureate of the Yukon. It's it's amazing. It's encyclical. You have this community, this solidarity that you have already built in a short period of time, and it's absolutely incredible. And I know you, and I know enough about Mutiu that I'm sure that that's what you guys were going for, and
Yes.
that's
I
what's
love to
really
build
special.
community. It's very powerful. I'm very happy that so many people have been welcoming of this project and come to us and said, we'd like to be interviewed. We still have a lot to go for. We'll be doing this until we reach 1 million subscribers. I guarantee you that.
Wow.
We're going for it. We're looking for that, and we'll keep going until it does. Don't let that deter anyone from being a subscriber. It's going to be a long, long time. So we want to develop that community. That's what we're trying to do, is build a large world base of poets and writers and creative minds out there. So we want to keep it moving. I do believe you have another poem you'd like to read. That was on the website.
Sure, the one that was on New York Parrot. Absolutely. I'm very proud
Yeah,
of
this
this
one.
poem. This is definitely one that I lost sleep. It's just a short little three stanza poem
Okay.
about that references the stress of the world that we're living in right now, but also tying it into and eventually in a positive way to experiences that I had with the guys I grew up with. And that's the TRHA. That's in brackets is the Torrance Road Hockey Association. The poem is called Wire, and it first appeared on June the 27th on New York Parrot. My nerves are wound like piano wire, wrapped around my wrists and ankles, etched into my face and beating heart while I scream into a vacuum. Forgetting the madness I left behind, I remember our sacred, smelly hill where we used to smoke and talk about when things would be different. We cut through barbed wire. The fangs which sank deep inside and tried to tear us apart, we overcame until all that remained was what bound us together.
Hmm. Excellent. That's a long-standing friendship. That's a poem of um, depth of heart.
The biggest thing I'm having with these guys is I miss them. I mean, these are guys that I've known since the 1970s, and one of them I haven't even seen in almost 2 years now,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple of them I've seen like once or twice a year, like since the pandemic started. And, another one I see a little bit more often, but not a lot because I mean we've been on lockdown here in Toronto,
Yeah,
so
it's
it's
been
been really
rough.
challenging. And then I just felt like I had no outlet, and that was where I was screaming into the vacuum because I need I need to get together with my friends to let off steam and to talk about whatever, even if we're not talking about what's really stressing us out, but just to sort of let let off that steam and have that camaraderie, that community. And it just have not had that for the last 18 months. As I'm not the only one that's having that.
Yeah, it's here too. For me, I mean, I go days without seeing anybody or talk. I talk
Yeah.
on the phone quite a bit. Do these Zoom meetings and stuff, the interviews. I mean, you just got to commit to something and steady. That keeps you in line for the day.
Yep.
There's just so much going on at once. It's like, how do you take it all in? You know, and so we put this book together to kind of communicate world vision and through the community of world poets. I mean, of course, that what else would you want to do except, if you want a world vision, you talk to the world. I mean, so you get
Yep.
a world league of poets all over across the globe to come in and put their work into this book. And it's not just poetry; it's also prose. There's some
Yes.
photographs and there's some visual art from a variety of people. There's photographs by Emily Fortney, and there's photographs by Brian Kahinde, and it's a wonderful 249 pages of work. What do you think of the mission statement? It's featured on the back of the book, and I've read it a couple of times, so I won't repeat it. But the mission statement of the New York Parrot. What do you think of that? Do you think we are getting close to that vision, or is it something we must keep steadfast and keep working towards? I mean,
It's ambitious. It's going to require
yes.
vigilance and diligence. This
Mm-hmm.
is every day. Uh, Truth and relevant information gaps, are they're endemic. I mean, they're on TV. It doesn't
Yes.
matter who's in power, even if the person that you voted for is in power. They're human beings. They're going to be inconsistent. They're going to do things that are not going to be consistent with the party line, and they're not going to be doing things that are consistent with what they said was going to
Mm-hmm.
happen. And that doesn't matter whether it's Biden or Trump, or here in Canada, we got Pierre Trudeau calling an election in the middle of the pandemic because he knows if he waits another year that somebody else is going to win the election. And
Right.
I mean, the poetry is truth and poetry
Mm-hmm.
is community, and this is something that you are creating, but it's an everyday job for you to create it. And this is a bold statement, but it's not going to be easy for you to live up to. I know you're up to it, and I know Mutiu is up to it. And what the community has to do is to help build that and to support you and to promote you. And I do whatever I can. I share your guys' work on Facebook, on my social media, and all that, because I want as many people to see what you're doing as possible, because
Right.
what you're doing is special and it's not easy.
It's quite a task. It's daunting at times. That we do daily interviews. Put this book out. Lots and lots of work. We got the website going, NewYorkParrot.com, which is also where we publish a lot of new poetry, relevant, socially relevant, poetry on current events. Anything
Mhm.
that is speaking of the now, or the general human condition. And there's a lot of confessional oriented poetry, and that's fine. And there's a lot of romantics, and there's all this other stuff. But we were looking specifically for poetry that relates to the human condition
Yeah.
and to the socially relevant and the times that we're living in, to document this as sort of historian. So if you're writing poetry that's sort of like a historical nature, a contemporary history, then that's the sort of thing we're trying to aspire towards. This book, however, we just wanted a broad range of people speaking about their experiences in life
Mhm.
in general. We have prose from Sanka Sin, and it's a wonderful short story, The Last Harmony. We have Casey Dorman, Tina Wittendorf, Mortensen submitted a piece from her upcoming collection of fantasy work. So we have a lot of stuff. We want to promote as much as possible for other people and give them a space. So anybody can reach out to me at literary corner@newyorkparrot.com if you're interested in being on the show. Just give me an email, send me a link, your link to your work or whatever, and a headshot, as well as a paragraph bio, so I know who I'm talking with and what you have accomplished, and so we can set up an interview with you guys. We want to do that. That's what we do. So, and I
And
thank
I
you
can
so much.
tell you, as somebody who's been on the show, that it is a great experience
Thank
being
you so
interviewed by
much.
Dustin Mutiu, but it's also a great promotional thing, because thousands of people who would never have heard of you otherwise. I was
Right.
telling a good friend of mine, Charles Smith, a few weeks ago, my biggest problem is that nobody knows who I am except for the people who know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to Parrot Literary Corner, thanks to New York Parrot, thanks to Harbinger Asylum, people are seeing my poetry and hearing my poetry and hearing me speak about poetry that would never have heard of me in a million years. And I'm telling you, anybody who's watching this, get connected. It's worthwhile. It's going to help you very much.
Absolutely, and we love doing this. We even get you a nifty background here that we've got with your name and your picture on the back. Is we usually do have that, but this was like a one time. We were inviting a guest we've already had, so I thought, well, we'll just use a little generic background. But yeah, we'll get you a nice background, a nice promotional flyer to share with friends and people who might want to view the program. So that'll be something to look forward to. If anything else, if we promote it like crazy, it all across Facebook and Twitter and everywhere we can. Instagram, I do a lot of Instagram promoting too. So you guys get in touch. I'm Poet Pickering on Instagram. My last name, Poet Pickering, all as one thing. So anybody wants to follow me there, I'm on there. I'm on Twitter as Dustin Pickering 2, I believe.
Yes,
Yeah, that's where I'm at on Twitter. So, and the New York Parrots websites and various social media are all over the various outlets as well: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So be in touch there. You guys tell us what you think. Give us a thumbs up, 2 thumbs up. Maybe if you can do that, 2 thumbs up. We'd love to hear from you. And it's been wonderful talking with you, Pat. I'm glad you could share
always great to talk to you,
both of your
Dustin.
poems. Absolutely, I love what I'm doing. So it's so much enjoyment in this spectacular season of poetry. We just got to keep the momentum going, and
Yes,
we'll see what we can. We never. I mean, hey, next year it could be bigger than life. We don't know.
that
You
would be
know,
incredible.
we'll just keeping this momentum going. Hopefully, next year we have a much bigger thing than we had, starting off with. I mean, I didn't know what to expect, and I was like, hey,
Right.
let's just give it a shot. Why not? And we got a lot of good people on board. So we're glad to have what we've
Definitely.
accomplished so far. And I appreciate you joining us today, Pat, to talk
Oh,
about the
thanks, man. Thanks for
anthology.
having me. Appreciate it.
$18 of contemporary global voices, the literary parrots. And just let us know what you think. You can leave us a review on Amazon. We already have 2 5-star reviews. So anybody out there who buys this book or has a copy and reads through this and says, man, these guys are stunning. We want to hear what you have to say, what makes it, what draws you to it, what brings your own voice out. This is a great inspirational volume, and you'll be so in touch. I mean, you can find people in here that you might not find elsewhere. We've scoured the earth, you know. We look everywhere. We've gone all the way from Tanzania to Canada to West Bengal, all the way to Nepal, all the way back up to the United States, to New York City, and we've talked to so many people. So keep in touch with this program. It's been wonderful talking with you again, Pat. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dustin.
And this has
Appreciate
been
it.
the New York Parrot Literary Corner, and I'm Dustin Pickering. If you guys want to get in touch with me, I'm literarycorner@newyorkparrot.com. And I appreciate all you guys out there following us, subscribing to our channel, and basically just keep doing what you're doing. Keep writing, keep reading. Just don't let the world get to you too much. I mean, we can do what we can. We've got a lot of social activists in this volume as well, who are out there trying to keep the health of the communities alive. So just, if you're doing that kind of work, we want to hear from you as well. Literary wise, we want to know what you're doing. So be in touch, everybody out there who is active in their world with the literature and with hope and promise, and as well as just expressing yourself through poetry and through prose and through any kind of writing you're doing. We want to hear from you. So this has been the New York Parrot Literary Corner. And again, I'm Dustin Pickering signing off. This is the Voice for Humanity.